5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It has now been 48 hours since Kansas State lost Farmageddon, lost to Iowa State in Ireland, and people have had some very wild reactions, some fair, some balanced, some just way over the top. And I'm going to be honest, I'm standing on business. I still feel the exact same way I did about this game as I did 24 hours before kickoff. I think it was a little more than 24 hours. So I think it was like 36 hours. It doesn't really matter. Look, the point is, this was still a mulligan game for Kansas State. Kansas State still has a very good chance of winning 10 games. Potentially, I don't want to say win out the rest of the season, because that is nearly impossible for any Big 12 team to do. If there's anyone to do it, though, it's Kansas State, and I think they could really have a chance on doing it as long as they let this fuel them. And again, don't let this snowball. Do not be the next Florida State. That is exactly what happened to them last season. Don't let it happen to you. The entire season is still in front of you, and there's plenty of time to recuperate the loss. First of all, your next 4 games going into Waco. Waco's your next big test. You have 4 very winnable games on the schedule up until then. You have North Dakota, who you should beat the brakes off of. You have Army, which could be a pretty good game, actually. You got Arizona, and that's in Arizona, so that's a little intimidating, but all due respect, it's a Pac-12 stadium. Arizona's not very good. I think K-State should be maybe even double-digit favorites in that game. You know what I'm trying to say, right? And and then UCF, the Golden Knights. They're not the Golden Knights anymore. The Knights. I don't care. Scott Frost, I think is a good hire. Will they do anything though his first year? I don't think so. You should theoretically win the next 4 going into Waco, Texas, against Baylor, who is also looking to be a very good contending team in the Big 12, and that should be a good game. But the next 4 you have to win. Now, the next 3 aren't conference games, so I guess in theory you could still get an auto bid, just, if you drop one of these games, but I wouldn't drop one. I would even say if you win out, even if the Big 12 ends up being a very good conference and you go 10-2 the rest of the way, this loss to Iowa State is really not the end of the world. In fact, it is a nothing burger, especially if you go 11-1. It is a nothing burger of a loss because it did happen at the very beginning of the season, and you have everything in front of you to prove, and you're fine. You're good. We know the committee devalues losses at the beginning of the season versus the end. K-State, you're fine. Just figure it out. Go from here. Get Dylan Edwards healthy again, and you're probably good. Speaking of Dylan Edwards, he's one of the subjects I want to talk about. But first of all, I just want to say the 48 hours, there is no particular reason why I waited 48 hours exactly, except for the fact that Joe made a tweet saying it would be good for everyone to just stay off Twitter for 48 hours. And I said bet. I said let's do it. Now, that's not to say I haven't been on Twitter at all, because, it's kind of hard not to be on Twitter, but I haven't really looked through my main feed at all. I haven't touched it. I don't think I've tweeted out a single thing since that happened. So I try to stay true to it, and it will actually be when this video goes live and I tweet out about it, it will be 48 hours since I agreed to do Joe's challenge. Now, this will obviously hurt the views, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's to send the message that let's take 48 hours to cool off from this one, because this was a very emotional loss for a lot of people, and I totally understand why. But we mentally got to realize that this is a week 0 game, and there is an entire season to look forward to. And we knew Iowa State was a good team. Nobody thought Iowa State was this bum team who K-State was gonna crush, right? I say we as in the royal we there. I'll always have to make that distinction, right? So that's where we're at. Season's ahead of you. You're good to go. Also, I just want to make a call out. Joe, Mr. Joe, you yourself didn't do the challenge. So You're kind of slimy, kind of a fake YouTuber. Honestly, you guys should always just watch Carter from now on. Don't ever watch Joe. I'm just kidding, Joe. This is all for a bit. Please don't uninvite me from your wedding. Okay, thanks. So I said Dylan Edwards was the first thing I wanted to mention. First of all, again, I actually didn't see this tweet because, again, I was staying off Twitter. But allegedly and apparently, he tweeted something out about DMs he had gotten. And from my understanding, from what I've seen at least, these were from gamblers. These weren't from actual fans. First of all, screw you if you do that shit. Excuse my language. We're going to curse a little today. And you all are just going to have to be okay with that for today. It's not me being emotional. It's just me needing to add the gravitas to the words, right? So, first of all, I hate you if you do that. You're stupid and dumb. Don't go after college. I know these college kids are making a lot of money. Don't go after college kids for losing your parlay. Just don't do it. It's just stupid. Just stop it. Just stop it. Second of all, why are you going after the gamblers, man? Now, this is where I'm actually, and this is my third point. The second point leads into the third point because I'm actually very disappointed in the Kansas State fan base here. Because a lot of people are blaming Dylan Edwards, saying he's soft for not going back out on the field, for not wanting to be out there with the team, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I don't think Dylan Edwards is the type of guy that if the physical therapist and every one of the tents was telling him not to go back out there, or I think he's going to listen to him, right? I don't think Dylan Edwards was the type of guy who's not going to go out there if he can, right? I don't think he doesn't give off that kind of mentality vibes to me. Now, of course, they just use vibes, so it is just vibes. I don't know Dylan Edwards personally, right? I don't. But knowing athletes and their mentality, I would be very surprised if Dylan Edwards was the type of guy to just bow out and say, nope, I'm slightly injured. We're not doing this anymore. I don't believe that's him. So, to the Kansas State fans who are going after Dylan for being this soft sack of shit or whatever, for not going back out there, right? Can we just stop? Can we just drop that narrative? Because it's really getting sad, honestly, that the own fan base is going after him. If you think that at this point, just keep it to yourself. I don't get the point in airing that out, especially because you know now he's checking his socials. If you really love your players and love the team, stop it with that. You have no proof that he didn't want to be out there. So just drop that narrative. It's just not going to work. It's not going to go anywhere. And that's all I have to say about Dylan Edwards. Second thing is to the KU community. Now, this is not a call out to anyone specific or to them as a whole either, really. I've seen a lot of troll tweets from the KU burnerverse. I've got to say, there's a lot of really good ones. There's been a lot of good trolling going out there. Nothing but respect for that kind of game. It's very impressive. Jalen Daniels, I'll hand it to him. He looked very good against Fresno State. Notice how I say Fresno State. I want to emphasize the fact that I said he looked very good against underlined Fresno underline State. That is not a good team. You celebrate the victory. I'd celebrate the 1-0. Who won it? What? You stop acting like it's the Super Bowl, though. You look very clownish. It just looks very dumb. And I know the KU burnerverse or whatever is going to clown me for this video. And honestly, they should. They should keep the punches rolling. It's what makes this rivalry great. But when you celebrate this like it's the Super Bowl, when Kansas State lost a close game to a ranked rival, and pretending like this victory is like this monumental occasion, and K-State is now just the worst team in the Big 12 because they lost a week 0 gimmick game to a ranked Iowa State, who was the Big 12 runner-up. There's levels to this, all right? They're not the same levels. And I say this more for my friends who are trolling me too. And I know they don't watch my videos, so I can get away with this. But you're stupid. And I am taking notes on every single stupid thing you are saying right now. And I am 100% looking forward to throwing them back in your face, because you are going to face actual teams this season. You aren't going to get to play, I don't even know what they were last season, like 7-6 Fresno State, who had new coordinators and a new quarterback. you're gonna drop a game somewhere. It's gonna be hilarious, and K-State's gonna be there for it. I'm just saying, just get ready for it, because there's levels to this, and I think most of you know that too. So I'm just saying, like, don't like be mad about it, and you're not going to be, or maybe you will because it's all part of the gimmick. I don't know. I don't really care, but it's gonna happen. On this note, anyone who says this isn't a real rivalry between KU and K-State can honestly shut their mouths at this point. There is no way anyone truly believes that it is not a real rivalry. K-State fans, I know it's a 60-0 streak right now. It's still a rivalry. If you're going to say it's not a rivalry because you've won 16 in a row, that doesn't not make it a rivalry. And K-State fans should know that because they lost 31 times in a row to Nebraska, right? KU fans, if you say it's not a rivalry because Mizzou's your real rivalry, shut it at this point. You would not care this much about K-State losing a week 0 gimmick game in Ireland unless you cared about the rivalry. And you do. And that's fine. Just admit it. Just stop pretending that this rivalry doesn't mean anything to you, because it clearly does. So just drop that narrative. We can all be hated rivals together. Let's unite on that front and just accept that we hate each other. And we should become more loving through this hate. Okay, third thing I want to talk about, Avery Johnson. And not just his family. I don't even really want to touch on that too much because it's a gigantic distraction. Avery Johnson looked very good once he and Wells figured things out in the second half. Once they got going, they got oiled up. Pause. I was going to say lubricated, but that doesn't make it any better, honestly. Once they got things going, though, I was gonna say the grease on the wheels, but look, there's no good like metaphor to put this. They sucked in the first half. They figured it out in the second half. I don't get people. I think people are just dogging on Johnson because he is the face of the program. And that's to be expected with any like team, right? Like if the Chiefs lose, even if Mahomes throws for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, people are going to clown Mahomes because he is the face of the Chiefs, right? It's the exact same thing with Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson had 273 passing yards, a rushing touchdown, and 2 passing touchdowns. I don't care if 2 of those were huge breakaway plays. He made the pass. And also, he went 70% on completion, with Rocco Beck got nowhere near that. I believe Rocco Beck's ending percentage was 50%, and he went 14 for 28. I believe that last I checked, that's what the numbers were. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. I'll also look it up and fact check myself if it is wrong. Avery Johnson had a good game. Avery Johnson might have been the best player on the K-State offense out there, next to Garrett Oakley, who obviously did fantastic. Shout out to Big Oak. But I don't get why the heat's coming for Johnson, other than the fact that he's the face of the program. He had a very good game. This whole running back narrative is just stupid as hell. He can make the passes. His passes look dog water the first half, right? He was missing passes, and that's just a fact of the game. He was missing passes. You can blame it on the weather. He was still missing passes. It's very fair to mention the weather, but at the end of the day, he was missing passes. Second half, that wasn't the case. He was hitting receivers. He was doing good. He looks so much better. Shout out to Email Caleb. I'm stealing this from you, but he looks so much better when he's throwing on the run rather than throwing in the pocket. He just does. I think Matt Wells and him will figure that out together. But he looks so much better when he's actually moving and throwing rather than just like standing still and throwing. He's not Will Howard. You can't put Avery Johnson into the Will Howard box, right? So I think they figured that out. Stop making fun of Avery Johnson, though. Also, there were like 4 drop passes, and at least 2 of them were crucial, right, and game changing. And yeah, even if the passes were a little off, if the ball hits you in the hands, you should be catching it. You need to make a play for your QB, right? Everyone should be trying to make a play for the QB. The fact that the receiver room is just lets balls slip through their hands so often, it's so frustrating. This team was the number 1 team in drop passes last season, praying that it doesn't happen again, because It's so demoralizing seeing that. And then everyone blames Avery because he's the face of the program. So people who don't know ball just assume Avery threw another bad pass rather than like, oh, Jace Brown, dropped it. It was a low one-handed catch, so I don't blame him for dropping it, but it hit his hands and he didn't complete the catch. There was that 1 4th and 7 play where the ball went. I can't remember who the receiver was, but it went right through his hands, and it's just like nothing more frustrating than that. And knowing that they're gonna go after Avery, and everyone's gonna say, "Oh, Avery's so bad," even though it literally was on the receiver, right? But K-State's receiving room has kind of been mid for the past how many years? So, which honestly would make you think that they would know that it might not be the quarterback, but I digress. It's not saying this year's quarterback or wide receiver room is bad, because I don't think it is, actually. I think this is a year, and I know everyone sips the Kool-Aid every year, but I really think this is a year. Tibbs looks pretty decent, and I mean, Jace Brown, shout out to Avery for getting in to say, because Jace Brown looks pretty dang good again. I will briefly touch on the Avery Johnson family thing, though, because I think it is something, it's blown up so much at this point. It's blown up so much that my grandparents know about it, right? So it's blown up enough that that probably should mention just something about it, even if it's brief. This is in no way, shape, or form a reflection of Avery Johnson's character. I think most people would agree with this. Don't think that Avery is like his family, especially in this regard. And I think the whole thing is just, honest to God, stupid as hell. They're probably just drinking because it's Ireland, right? And they got into a fist fight. Honestly, it's not Avery Johnson. The kid, look, I know he's a kid that makes a shit ton of money, right? But like, for like NFL, like for like Patrick Mahomes, right? I hate to keep using Patrick Mahomes as an example, but I'm going to keep using him as an example because he's local. Patrick Mahomes, when his family does some shit, right? Like, Patrick Mahomes is an adult. He'll figure it out. He'll take care of it. He'll either block it out, he'll figure it out with his folks, whatever. Avery's just a kid, man. I know he's making a ton of money. I know, like, me personally, I'm only like 3 years older than him, so I don't really like feel like he's like a kid to me, because then, like, what's the cutoff for kid, right? But he's just a kid. This isn't him. It's not fair to bring him into this. Let the guy be. I'm very certain that Avery, of all people, is probably not on social media a whole lot, though. So if I had to guess, I'm guessing he's probably not seen a whole lot of this stuff. At least he's not on his Twitter. His Twitter's been pretty dead, except for NIL related tweets, it seems. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's super unfair to go after Avery Johnson about it. So clown the family all you want. Like, that's totally fair, right? And, Avery Johnson is such a big household name that I understand why everyone wants to bring attention to it. But, yeah, just don't go after Avery for it, because that's not him, man. That's not him. He's just a kid. Leave him out of it. I think that's all I got to say about this game, though. I have a clock pulled up on my monitor right now, and I've been yapping for about 20 minutes. So I think everything that I need to say has been said. Iowa State's a very good team. There's a world where I could see both teams making it to Arlington. K-State just went out. You're fine. This is a mulligan game. You can forget it. You can let it go. Move on with the rest of your season. Get to double-digit wins. This is a season to get to double-digit wins. You don't know what's going to happen next season. You have the roster. You have the talent to do it. Matt Wells will figure things out with AJ. I have full confidence that will happen. Just let him figure it out. It's a week 0 game. They didn't get a warm-up game. So don't be surprised if this game looks sloppy. Anyone saying that the Big 12 is bad because of this game, there's a reason teams play an FCS team week 1. It's because it's to start getting them warmed up for the rest of the season, right? So don't take this as an indication of like where these two teams will be in 16 weeks from now, right? Or how long would it be? 16, 14, 15, 14? You get what I'm trying to say. And that's all I got for today. I'm actually going to stop yapping now. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys. Oh gosh, when will it be? I think it was around 9 or 9:30 when I said I wasn't going to tweet again for 48 hours. So I'll see you guys later tonight. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching. For the students out there, good luck with your going back to college this week. I know for the K-Staters that is the case for this week. So best of luck in your classes and syllabus week. And yeah, we'll see what happens against Wagner. Peace out.